Are you wondering if you're too old to make a big career change? Or whether you left it too late to become a really successful entrepreneur? If you feel like that and you're asking those questions, I totally get it. We live in a society that is obsessed with youth. Just think about the 20-year-old whiz kid coming out of Silicon Valley with $1 million IPO, or the 21-year-old girl on Instagram telling women in their 30s and 40s how to eat. Or maybe that 22-year-old kid in your marketing department who's making you feel like a dinosaur because you're over 30. So totally get it. However, the reason why I'm shooting this video is because I want to let you know that the question is not about whether you're too old or whether you left it too late. Forget about all those young ones. Forget about that. The question should be something completely different. Namely, what do you still want to do with all those years that you have left to work? Those many, many years. Do you just want to default in to continue what you've been doing so far? Or do you want to make them the best years of your life? I'm Rikke Hansen. I'm a transition advisor. I help smart people make really scary transitions in their business or in their career. So many of my clients in the 30s and 40s come to me and they really worry that they left it too late, they're too old. But here's what I always ask them to think about. So how many years do you still have left until retirement versus how many years have you already worked? So for most countries, especially in Western Europe, the retirement age is slowly edging towards 70. And probably it's going to be a lot later than that once you and I get there. But think about it. Imagine you are a 35-year-old lawyer or 35-year-old finance person or any other professional for that matter. And you've already worked 10 years. Think about how many years you still have left to work. If you're 35, you work 10 years, you still have 35 years left to work until you can retire. Just think about that for a moment. If you decide right now, at the ripe age of 35 or whatever your age is right now, that you left it too late to change, your default is going to be staying in that profession, staying in that job, or maybe even staying with that company for the next 35 years or 20 years or 10 years or whatever much you got left. Whoa, how does that feel? Would you like to do that? If you're watching this video, I bet no. So here's what I want you to worry about. Don't worry about whether you left it too late, whether you're too old. Worry about those many years of regrets, of resentment, of boredom, and lack of full expression you have ahead of you if you don't make a change now. Whoa! Suddenly starting your own business or making a big change in your career actually seemed like the less scary option looked at in that light. And that's really what I want you to think about. Does that help? But maybe you're saying to me, Rikke, that's all very well. But how come when I still want to make a change, it's still so difficult, bearing in mind I've spent these 5, 10, 15 years working in my profession? There's a very good reason for that. And I'll tell you about that now. So let's say you spend the last 10 years in a finance career. You're really fed up. You really want to change. You've got an idea for a business in health and fitness, a subject you really love. But there's something that just keeps you in that finance job and you're not really sure what it is. You feel like there is a pull because you've spent so much time. So you kind of feel that it would be crazy to drop all of that and go do something different. Can you relate to that? Now, the reason why you're feeling like that is down to a concept called the sunk cost fallacy. And it's a misapplication of a financial concept that you psychologically get yourself into. So really what the sunk cost fallacy is means that you have a greater tendency to continue an endeavor, such as a career or job, once you spend time, money, and invested loads in it. But it's irrational because the concept actually comes from finance. In finance, a sunk cost is money that's spent and that you can never recover. So when you make decisions about the future, you never take sunk cost into consideration. This is where so many career changes and transitions go wrong. Instead of looking at where do I really want to go now, irrespective of where I've been, what they look at is like, oh my God, but I've already spent 5, 10, 15 years in finance. I really ought to continue down that road because I invested so much. But here's my challenge to you. Do you really want to base your future on backwards looking decisions? Or do you want to look forward and say to yourself, what do I really want my future and the next 20, 30, 40 years to look like? That is the most intelligent and the one that's going to give you the most opportunities. So here's what I want you to think about. A lot of people who do a degree or a PhD, they get a couple of years and they go, oh my God, I don't want to do that. But they still continue rather than giving up and going for what they want. People stay in relationships way longer just because they invested time already. Here's what I want you to think about when it comes to that change you really want to make. Do you really want to have those 10, 15 years you spent in finance to decide what you're going to be doing for the next 20, 30, 40 years? Or do you want to decide that actually, yes, you spent that time in finance or any other profession, but you don't want that anymore. It's making you miserable. It's making you unhappy. So what you want to look at instead is that, okay, been there, done that. It's a sunk cost. I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to move on, and I'm going to move on to creating the most amazing future with a business or career that I love today. Do you see where this is going? So remember, the question is never, are you too old or have you left it too late? The question is, what kind of life, especially work life, do I want to create for myself now and for the rest of my life? If you don't want to stay where you are and just default to continue being a lawyer, a finance person, or any other kind of professional or job, this is your chance to make a forward-looking decision and forget about those sunk costs. Anyway, whatever it is you've learned in the career you've had so far will still stay with you. That won't go away. So if you can see how this makes sense and you're ready to move on because you want to create something much more exciting, you want the next 20, 30, 40 years to be the best years of your life, I've got something for you. If you go to rikke.me/kickstart, I put together a page where you literally get my 3 best strategies for kickstarting your first business, for kickstarting your career change, for getting ideas. So head over there now, rikke.me/kickstart, and I'll see you over there. Thank you.